breaking it down into small pieces, I would learn or be able to play just one C major 7 arpeggio at a time, ending on the root note of the next one. So practice that chunk, then this chunk, practice this chunk, practice this chunk, then this chunk, then this chunk. I'm not going to figure that part out. Today's video number 6 of coattail riding, or stream number 6 of coattail riding. We're going to be looking at something called Full Arpeggio Workout by Robbie Barnby. There we go.
Hey guys, Robbie here. Today I thought I'd show you a really great arpeggio exercise.
So I certainly cannot do that right now. But yeah, that looks very difficult.
Which is one I try and do every day. It's a really good one because it's going to test your brain concentration skills, but it's also going to get you practicing your kind of technique stamina and get you playing all over the fretboard. So let's get to it. Okay.
Clearly jazz-based. I think it's clearly jazz-based, which I am not a jazz musician, and he has a jazz guitar, and I do not. So this will make things even more interesting, perhaps. Although all the arpeggios I was hearing, stuff. I mean, I know those arpeggios, but as far as playing them just like that and alternate picking the entire time, that adds a whole other element of difficulty. So I'm used to sweep picking things like that, and as you've seen, or you may have not seen, I think my sweep picking skills are rather subpar.
Okay, so I'm going to show you all the really essential chord qualities to apply to this because there's quite a few. However, let's first start with C major 7 while I show you what the exercise is. So it's basically a 3-octave arpeggio which ascends. And descends.
Oh boy, indeed. This is, yeah, that's gonna take some practice there. Let's see if he explains what this stuff is before I start going off on what the theory is.
So slowly.
I see he does hand shifting in different positions than I was just now doing. Not that that's wrong. We just do it differently.
So this shape is going to be our sort of skeleton or point of reference when changing it to other chord qualities too. So what I want you to really think about is getting the right fingering. You want to focus on the points where we need to change position because we want to try and make that as comfortable and as fluid as possible. So you're going to want to do what's comfortable by using your index to set up the next position.
Alright, so he's got a reason for that. That makes sense. So he's basically, I see, he's playing the C major 7 arpeggio, like one of them. and then he moves his index finger into position for the root note again. So that's your root, third, fifth, seven, and then he slides up, root, third, fifth, seven. But here the index finger wouldn't make sense. He's got to be using his middle when he plays this one. Root, third, fifth, seven, perhaps.
And then across all the different chord qualities, we're always going to have this jump to land on the 7th. And in this case, I'm using my ring finger to land on it. So index, jump.
Yeah, so he did use his middle finger, it looked like, for the root note that time, which makes sense because if you slid up to use your index finger here, well, you'd have to bounce back to use your index finger there.
Index. Okay, and then what we do with this is we take it through all 12 keys. So I like to go backwards around the cycle of fifths. So if we started on C, we'd then now move up a fourth and do the exact same thing in F. So that has the exact same fingering and same shapes and positions. So if we went through all the keys, we'd get this. We change it to minor. So for the fingering for the minor, we use...
Yeah, this is a hell of a workout. Certainly a great way to know those arpeggio shapes all over the fretboard. And that's one thing I've thought about doing with sweep picking shapes. Like I have definitely handicapped myself by only practicing certain sweep pick patterns in just like one spot. I mean, I'll do it in different arpeggios throughout a specific key, but like for example, like I can do an A minor one pretty good starting right there, and maybe over here with the E minor one, but it's like as soon as I move to like a place I'd never really practiced it, I kind of lose the pattern. Like a major was a lot easier because it's all within a 4-fret span, whereas the minor's in a 5-fret span. So this guy, like what he's doing here, I think is really good if you really want to know arpeggios like all over the fretboard, because you won't be confined to just a key that you know. You're going to be doing it everywhere. So yeah, he ain't kidding when he said you're going to be exercising a lot of brain power. Because, yeah, you do have to concentrate a lot learning something like this.
Use the exact same shapes as we did before, but we just adjust the notes and the fingering. So I'm still using my index finger to set up the next position. And we still have that big jump to the 7th. This time I land on the 7th with my middle finger.
Flat 7th.
Because the middle finger and the root are now two frets apart. That jump probably looks quite hard at the moment, but with a bit of practice it will become really comfortable, and it will just be, you won't even question that that's the correct way to do it. Okay, and then like before, we carry on taking this through all the 12 keys again. Etc. This is great because if we go through the exercise doing all the chord qualities, then it's going to take quite a while to get through. But I think long exercises are really good because it's really going to train your concentration and consistency, because you'll need to really focus to keep every note sounding good. And you could even combine this exercise with loads of different metronome practice techniques as well, so that you're working on a whole combination of things.
Hear that? Did you hear what he said? Metronome practice. I love it.
However, this is just my preference, and with all of these, you should try and work out what works best for you.
I like that. I was just thinking that, like, some of the stuff he was doing before, my hand would want to do things a little bit different. So him to say, that's just his preference, but you can do it your way, that's good. I like that. One thing I have learned over the years is not forcing people to do a whole step stretch with their first, third, and fourth. I've learned it's really a hand-to-hand kind of thing, because a lot of people do much better using the middle finger for the whole step stretch. So I'm glad he said that. So I will be going back through these arpeggios he's talking about. We'll do some theory talk and explain what's going on there with the different intervals and making things perhaps a little bit more compact so we can explore these ideas more in depth here, because we can't just watch the video and go, ooh, right? We need to make some content and perhaps even practice one of the arpeggios. Probably just go to the first one, and I'll give explanation as to how I would go about learning one of these things, and metronoming the thing up, breaking it down into smaller, more easily digestible pieces and things like that. So we'll get into some more in-depth instruction, education, as after we get to the end of this thing here. I'm not going to figure that part out. Obviously, the man is a very skilled player. All right, let's break down practicing something like this. Let's do the practice portion, and then we'll get into the theory aspect afterwards. Now, one thing with arpeggio playing like this, like for me, it's very well set up for sweep picking. If you notice, when this guy's playing things, or when he's going through all these exercises or arpeggios, however you'd like to call it, he is alternate picking the entire time. Nothing wrong with that, especially if you're trying to improve your alternate picking skills. For pure speed, I recommend throwing in some sweep picking plus legato as well. Okay. So that's the arpeggio that he demonstrated at the beginning, or at least with the beginning of the explanation. So, yeah, starting with eighth notes, fantastic idea. But some things I'm thinking of that I might want to do is add in some hammer-ons, some pull-offs. Something like that. So breaking things down real simple, especially if you're brand new to this sort of idea, I would just do that first, because that is going from the first C major 7 right into the root note of the next one. So I think that's a good place to start. So, of course, you can do what he did in the video and alternate pick the whole time. But I like the idea of starting pick, hammer on, and then downstroke, downstroke, slide. So I would go about it that way. Again, it's totally up to you, depending on what it is you're trying to achieve with this. So if you do something like that, my recommendation is, do the eighth notes first. So of course, starting at the old 60, because fantastic amount of time for all these notes to get put in. A full second. So at the 60, it would sound like. And then you go up 5 every time you get that right. This way you really can concentrate on making sure everything sounds correct. Just keep going up more and more. So once you can get up to 240, or beyond, 240 and beyond, then I think it's okay to do the 16th notes instead, which would sound like this at 60 beats per minute. There we go. And you only need to get it correct one time before going up with that metronome. When it comes to building speed, speed's the name of the game. Even though you're still focused on accuracy first, you just need to play it correct once and then go up and go up by 5. So yeah, break it down into tiny pieces. So again, if you're brand new to this sort of thing, I would just do it in one arpeggio piece at a time. So that was the first time playing the C major 7. So this will be the next time. So yeah, I would like to do the pick, hammer, pick, downstroke, downstroke, hammer on there as well. And then I would focus on, let's see, up to that. I think I'd like to play it that way. Because now I'm set up for those pull-offs there. And then from there, I would work on just that part. Now this is a bit interesting. I think that would work out pretty well there. Going pinky, ring first, middle first. Because I will slide, putting the whole thing together, I would be sliding into that 16th fret next, which would give us this. Yeah, put it together that way. And then to get to the end, let's see. Probably not tight enough. Pinky's feeling funny again. Okay. So that's how I'd break that down. So to summarize that up, and this would be a good thing for my lovely editor to do here, just highlight this part. So breaking it down into small pieces, I would learn or be able to play just one C major 7 arpeggio at a time, ending on the root note of the next one. So practice that chunk, then this chunk, practice this chunk, practice this chunk, then this chunk, then this chunk. And again, this is really for people that are brand new to this sort of thing, brand new to these arpeggios, moving in this kind of manner across the fretboard. Because if you've never played things like this before and you try and do all that to start, you might be a little bit too much. But then after you get the 2 chunks down, then you can, or it's not the 2 chunks. Once you get 1 chunk down at a time, then try for 2. They do 2 of them at the same time. And so work on it that way. And then eventually, you know, go all the way up to the top and then all the way to the bottom. And then you can do the whole thing. So let's work on this whole thing. All right, well, let's see where we can get with this guy, and then after some practice, we'll do some music theory. Up 5. There we go. Yeah, this is going to be real tough when I get going faster with it. Blip. Come on. Oh my god. I gotta stop for a second. One thing to point out there with the way I'm practicing this stuff, you notice that every time I make a mistake, I stop and start again. That's an important thing to do. Very important thing to do. Something that I tend to catch myself repeating quite often. Perfect practice makes perfect. Only perfect practice makes perfect. So if you make a mistake, do not continue on. So like if you flub this arpeggio halfway through, don't continue on. Start it again. Start it again. Because if you make a mistake and you continue on, you're just practicing mistakes. We don't want to do that. There you go. So, whew, just a slow-ass 150. So it's definitely good I did not try doing 16th notes at first. So there you go. That's how I would practice doing this guy. Additional tips on this sort of thing. So let's say you're going to try playing this whole thing just as I did now. Well, what happens if after a week, you're really struggling with this and you're just not making any progress? Definitely should decrease the amount you're trying to do. Split it in half at least. So that would be my approach. So I could if I was to actually continue practicing this, which I have no intention of doing so right now, but if I was, I would try doing the full thing again the next day and see if I make any progress. I think the big issue right now is this pattern, for the most part, is new to me. I recognize a lot of the shapes. I can, the first part there. I know that one. That's the C major 7 shape that I will teach students as well. So there's definitely stuff in there I recognize. I mean, I know these notes. It's in the key of C. I teach these scales all the time. I play it. I don't know how many times I played it. So there's a good amount I already know. It's just doing it with this much distance covered in that specific way. That's new to me. So my brain right now is just what the hell is going on here? So it needs to process all the information. So just coming back the next day, I would be very surprised if I did not get faster than 150, because right now I just need to let it all kind of, let the brain put all the pieces together, so to speak. So if you ever noticed, you'll start learning a song or a piece of music one day, and it's a struggle, but you come back the next day, it's way easier. Same kind of thing. In fact, it's the exact same thing.